Hello everyone, in this video we'll go over the Book B, Unit 7 Vocabulary, numbers 1 through 30. Let's get started. Our first word is alarm. Alarm is a noun and it is a bell or other loud noise used to signal danger. For example, when they heard the fire alarm, they left the building. This is the alarm that many people have next to their bed that helps them wake up in the morning. When this starts making a loud noise, that's when we can say the alarm went off or the alarm woke me up. And here is a fire alarm. You can find this in every building. And when there is a fire, people pull down the fire alarm and a loud noise starts going off to let everyone know that they need to leave the building. Our next word is anthill. Anthill is a noun and it is a pile of earth made by ants as they dig their underground nests. And anthills are found near the nest entrance. So the nest of the ants look like this. There's a lot of tunnels underneath the ground, and at the very top here, this is the ant hill. They can come out and go in their homes through the ant hill. When you're walking in a forest, maybe you've seen a large pile like this. This is called an ant hill. Our next word is backbone. Backbone is a noun and it is the row of bones that runs along the center of the back. It's also called a spine. Look at the example sentence. Your backbone is also called the spine. So every human and some animals also have backbones. The backbone looks like this inside your body, and from the side, your backbone looks like this. Our next word is called belong. Belong is a verb and it means to be owned by. For example, the shirt belongs to me. Here in the picture, you can see this man has many things. He has a jacket, a backpack, a toothbrush, his shoes. All of these things belong to him. So when you're making a sentence, you can say, these shoes belong to me, or this toothbrush belongs to me. Or maybe you can ask a question, does this bag belong to you? Or who does this bag belong to? There's many ways you can make a sentence with the word belong. Our next word is coin. Coin is a noun, and coin is a piece of metal money that is small, flat, and round. So every country has coins that look differently. These coins here at the top are the coins from America, from the USA. Do you remember the names of the coins? This one here is the quarter. This is the dime, nickel, and penny. And here at the bottom, I have some coins from Korea. So coins come in different shapes and different sizes, and of course, they are worth a different amount. Worth means how much money they are. So this coin here is worth 500 won. This coin here is worth 25 cents. So when you're making a sentence, maybe you can write about how much a coin is worth. For example, a quarter is worth 25 cents. Our next word is collect. Collect is a verb and it means to gather together. For example, the teacher collected her students' work. She got the students' work and she put it all together. That is collect. Here in the picture, the girls are collecting the trash and putting it in the bag. Here also, this woman is collecting the apples and putting them in a basket. The word collect can also be changed for the word gather. Our next word is creature. Creature. Creature is a noun, and a creature is a living person or animal. So, owls, bats, and birds are creatures that can fly. The word creature is a way to use a different word instead of just saying animals. So, we can talk about creatures that live in the sea, creatures that live in forests. All of these animals can be called creatures. Creature is special because it can also mean something like this, some kind of monster that we don't know what to call. I don't know what this monster is called, and I don't know what this monster is called. So, of course, I can call it a monster, or I can call it a creature. I can say this creature looks like a forest animal, or this creature looks like a blank. I'm not sure what it looks like, so maybe you can tell me, what do you think this creature looks like? And there's another word that we can use to talk about animals. We can use the word critter. Critter is informal. That means we use it mostly when we are speaking. And it is a living creature, especially an animal that lives in the wild, animals that live in forests, for example. Let's look at the sentence. There are skunks and possums and a whole bunch of other critters living out there in the woods. So again, we can use this word to talk about animals if we don't want to say all of their names. There's too many animals here, so instead of telling the name of all of them in my story, I can use the word critter, just like this sentence. We said skunks, possums, and then we didn't want to keep telling all the names, so instead we said other critters. It's the same as saying other animals. So when you're writing a sentence, you can use both of these words. You can use critter or you can use creature to mean the same thing. Next word is crumb. Crumb is a tiny piece that breaks off or falls from bread or other food, usually food that is very soft, such as a cookie. So when you're eating a cookie, sometimes little pieces of it will fall down. This is what we call a crumb. Crumbs are very difficult to clean because they're so small and they always get everywhere. Our next word is damp. Damp is an adjective, so you can use it to describe a thing, and it means wet, but not very wet. For example, the towel was still damp. Sometimes we use a towel after we take a shower, or after we wash a towel, it is a little bit wet, and not exactly completely wet, just a little bit. So in that case, we can say it is damp. Water is not coming off of this towel, but when we touch it, it still feels wet. So that's when you can say it is damp. After we wash our clothes too, we have to hang our clothes to dry. And even after 1 hour, if you touch it, maybe it still feels damp because it takes a long time for the clothes to dry. Our next word is discover. Discover is a verb, it's an action, and it means to find or see before anyone else. For example, the pirate discovered a treasure chest in the dark cave. The important thing about this word is that it's done before anyone else. When you discover something, you are the first one to find it. So, we can say these people discovered a new place, or the pirate discovered a new island. Our next word is drill. Drill is a noun, and it can also be a verb. It can be the action of putting the nail into the wall. That can also be drill. But here we're looking at the noun. The drill is a tool used to make holes in wood, metal, and other materials. So this thing here is called a drill. And like I said, it is a noun and it can also be a verb. So I can make a funny sentence like this. I can say, he drilled a hole with the drill. So he did the action of drilling a hole, of making a hole, with the noun, the drill. Another example sentence is, you will need a drill to make a hole in this hard wall. Our next word is equipment. Equipment is a noun and it is anything made for a particular use. Jobs and sports often require special equipment. Let's look at the example. We bought a lot of new equipment for our hiking trip, including a tent. So when you go hiking, there are many things that you need. The things that you need is called your equipment. So of course you need a tent when you go hiking. Maybe you also need hiking shoes. That's part of your equipment. Let's look at this firefighter here. Firefighters have a lot of equipment, things that they need for their job. For example, they need a hose. Maybe they need a shovel or an axe. They need a mask. All of this is their equipment. And people who play sports, for example soccer, they also have a lot of equipment that they need to play the game. For example, maybe they need soccer shoes, or they need the special shin guards to protect their legs, or they need gloves if they are the goalie. This is all their equipment. Our next word is example. I think this is my favorite word. Example is a noun and it is something that shows what a group of things is like. An apple is an example of a fruit. So if someone asks you, what is a fruit? How can you answer that? Well, you can give an example. You can tell them something that shows what this thing is. So I can say an apple is an example of a fruit. Or an apple is an example of a healthy food. What about this ladybug? What is this ladybug an example of? Maybe you can say a ladybug is an example of an insect. And our last word is explore. Explore is a verb and it means to travel in order to discover or search for something. We explored the forests in hope of finding rare kinds of animals. So we had the word discover before. Discover, if you remember, discover was the action of finding. To find something. When you actually find the thing for the first time, you discover it. But when you are exploring, you did not find it yet. You did not discover it yet, but you are trying to find something. So to remember both of these words, explore means you are looking for the thing. You are looking to find it. After you find it, then you can say you discovered something, if you discovered it for the first time. Interest. Interest is a noun and interest means the desire. That means you want to learn or know about something. For example, the teacher took an interest in his students' work. Many times we can use this word interest like this. Someone took an interest in something. Maybe you can say, I took an interest in books. I want to learn about books. Or I want to learn about writing. I took an interest in writing. Everyone has different interests. There are different things they want to know about. For example, her interests is clothing and shoes. Her interest is traveling to different places. Maybe his interest is riding bicycles. Interests can also be used as a verb. For example, computers interest me. Computers are interesting to me. Our next word is piece. Piece is a noun and it means a section or part separated from the whole. For example, would you like a piece of bread? Or I ate a piece of pizza for lunch. Piece is not the whole thing. Piece is only a part of something. If you have a puzzle, this piece here is part of the puzzle, but it is not the whole thing. It's a small piece. Or there can be a whole cake, but just this part here is called a piece of cake. Our next word is pollen. Pollen is a noun and it is the fine yellow powder made by a flowering plant that helps the plant produce new plants. Plants make this yellow powder so that new plants can grow. And when the wind blows, it goes all over the air. And pollen can make people sneeze a lot. Many people are allergic to pollen. So look at the example. Pollen in the spring makes me sneeze a lot. Do you know anyone who sneezes because of pollen? Our next word is pound. Pound is a verb, it's an action, and it means to hit or strike with force. For example, the carpenter pounded the nail with a hammer. Here we have a carpenter, a person who makes things with wood, and he has to pound the nail. He has to hit it very hard with the hammer. So he pounds the nail with the hammer. When we are making rice cake also, we have to pound it with this large mallet or hammer so that we can get the rice cakes. Our next word is powder. Powder is a noun and it means something that you crush for a long time that will turn into a very small grain. It looks like sand, so we call it a powder. This here, it's not sand, it looks like sand, but we call it a powder. To make this, people use sometimes plants or seeds and they pound it until it's very, very small, like sand. This is what we call powder. And powder can be used for many things. There can be powder that women use for makeup on their face. There can be powder that we use on our body, like this. She put powder on the baby after his bath. Or there's powder that we use for cooking, like baking powder. Our next word is quite. Quite. Quite is an adverb and it means completely. Please be careful with the word quite because it looks very similar to the word quiet. Quiet, of course, means not making any noise, but their spelling is different. Quite ends with the letter E, but quiet ends with the letter T. So please be very careful when you're writing this word. So let's look at the example. The paint is quite dry now, so it's okay to sit on the chairs. That means the paint is completely. Or another word that can mean the same as quite is very. The paint is quite dry, the paint is very dry, so it's okay to sit. Or she is not quite done with breakfast. She still needs a minute or two. She is not completely done. Everything is not finished. So that is the word quite. Let's look at another example. This exam is quite hard. Well, we said quite can mean very. So this exam is very hard. Or I am very tired can be changed to I am quite tired. And the meaning is very similar. Our next word is safe. Safe is an adjective and it means to provide protection from harm, loss, or damage, something that is not dangerous, is safe. For example, the deer found a safe place in the forest. And when you are riding in a car, you wear your seatbelt because it is safe. It is safe to wear a seatbelt. And do you know some safe places that you can go to if you are lost? If you are lost, a safe place is a police station or a fire station or a hospital. Those are all safe places. Our next word is scatter. Scatter is a verb and it means to throw around in different directions. For example, the farmer scattered grain for the chickens. In the picture, you can see the girl has some flowers in a basket and she is scattering the flowers. She throws them in different directions. This girl here too, she has some food for the chickens and she has to scatter the food. She throws it around. Maybe she'll turn around and she'll throw some here, she'll throw some over here. She scatters them in different directions so all the chickens can get the food. Our next word is soil. Soil is a noun and it is the top layer of the earth's surface. It can also be dirt. For example, the farmer prepared the soil for planting. And soil has many synonyms. Soil can mean dirt, like we said. It can be just earth, not the planet Earth, but we call this earth. It can be ground or it can even be land. All of these mean the same as soil. Of course, if we want our plants to grow, then we need to plant the plants in some good soil. If your soil is too sandy or too rocky, then the plants can't grow. Our next word is stamp. Stamp is a verb and it means to push down against a surface with a hard, fast motion. When you push down very hard and fast, that is called stamp. For example, she stamped her foot on the floor. When someone is angry, they can stamp their foot. Or when we have this tool here, this stamp, we use it to stamp. This is another case where there's a noun called stamp and there's a verb called stamp. The stamp is this item and the action word is to push it down to get the picture on the piece of paper. That is also stamp. Our next word is swamp. Swamp is a noun. A swamp is a place and it is a low area of land that is covered with water. Snakes and turtles often live in swamps. In this picture here, I have an example of a swamp. All of the land here is covered with water. The water is not very deep, but there are animals that live in this water, such as alligators. Alligators, turtles, snakes, they live in these swamps. And swamps have many trees growing out of the water. Our next word is team. Team is a noun and it is a group formed to play or work together. For example, a team of scientists worked on the problem. So here, these people work together. They are working together to try to find a solution to a problem, or they are working together to make ideas. They are a team. Anyone who works together is a team. Or we can use team when talking about sports. My sister is a member of the volleyball team. Here I have a picture of a team. This is a soccer team. All of the people on the team are working together to win. They are a team. Have you ever been part of a team? Our next word is tool. Tool is a thing that is used to help a person do work, and that is usually held with the hands. For example, the hammer, drill, and other tools are all in the garage. So I have many pictures of tools here, If you are a builder, maybe you use these tools like a drill, a saw, a wrench, a hammer. These are all tools. If you are a student or a teacher, then maybe these are your tools. Maybe you have pencils and scissors and erasers and a ruler. The tools are the things we use to do our work. Our next word is tunnel. A tunnel is something dug under the ground or underwater for cars, trains, and other vehicles to travel through. For example, we get to the city by going through a tunnel under the river. Maybe you've gone through a tunnel in the car with your mom or dad. This here is a tunnel. This one is probably built in a mountain. If there is a mountain and we want to go to the other side of the mountain, instead of driving all the way around the mountain, people have learned how to make tunnels. We make this hole through the mountain so that it's faster to travel through. But animals also make tunnels. Some animals, like rabbits, can make tunnels under the ground and then they live here in these tunnels. Our next word is valuable. Valuable is an adjective, and valuable is used for anything that you think is expensive or has great worth or importance. Anything that is important to you is valuable. So I have pictures here of some diamonds and other stones and some jewelry like rings and necklaces. All of these things are very expensive, so we can say they are valuable. They are valuable things. But only expensive things are not valuable. Anything that is important to you is valuable. So if you have a toy that is your favorite toy, then that toy is valuable to you. Or look at this sentence. She is a valuable friend. If you have a friend that is very good, it's your best friend, maybe that friend is valuable to you. They are very important to you. Then you can use this word valuable. And the opposite of valuable can be useless, something that is not important, that is not needed. And that's all for this video. We went over the Book B, Unit 7 vocabulary words, numbers 1 through 30. Thanks for listening.